Back in the day, it definitely wasn't like it is now.
I never thought that I'd be on a stage in an arena.
A lot of my peers thought it was just going to be some token kind of gesture.
I like that we were given an opportunity, because without that opportunity, I don't know what would have ever happened.
One Extra has always felt like family.
Yo, man's the legend, you know.
Big things are gone.
It was like chilling with your brethren. To hear that on a BBC station was groundbreaking.
It is emotional to see how far we've come.
One Extra.
BBC is delighted to announce the arrival of a new baby. One Extra was born just over an hour ago and was heard uttering its first sounds on digital radio.
20 years.
One Extra's been around since I was 4.
One Extra is always ready for like the next thing.
We're taking black music on a nationwide level.
They say, you know, this music's like council estate music. It's not really for us. We only play hits.
We're playing music which spans a national platform, and we're delivering it.
It was like someone had taken a pirate radio station and flung it on a national network.
All their team was 10-10.
One Extra celebrated black music right from the start.
One Extra was one of the only stations to invest in African music.
Black people just being black.
To be in the environment of One Extra was like a blessing for us.
One Extra has established itself as one of the cornerstones of the culture in the UK.
It's very clear to see from the official charts over the last few years what One Extra have been screaming about for the past 20.
I always tell the new broadcasters, appreciate what we've got now, because before we had nothing.
What's going on? It's your boy Ace, heavyweight champion of radio, and today we are celebrating 20 years of BBC Radio 1 Extra. Can you believe it? 20 years of amplifying black music and culture. Now, I've been here since day dot. Myself and my co-presenter Viz, we came here straight out of college. We were young, we were wild, and we were reckless, and we had loads to learn. Now, if there's one sound I remember from my college days, it's this one.
Oh my days.
2002.
At 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, the Prime Minister will make the case to the Commons for war.
I wasn't even out of the room yet. I wasn't alive.
You had to memorise numbers. You're saying to the girl, say your number again, and you walk down the road constantly repeating the numbers.
The internet is a network that spans the world.
I just remember LimeWire.
It's very easy to get pop music absolutely free.
I used to send stuff on MSN Messenger.
I used to go down West End clubs, I'd take my school tie off or whatever, DJ a little hour set, go home, go bed, wake up, do my paper and go to school.
One Extra.
Meanwhile, in the mainstream, major labels found a new way to manufacture pop stars. So when One Extra launched, it was guys like this that were running the charts.
Green, when the jealousy swells and it won't go away.
Who remembers Darius? That's a blast from the past. He was #1 at the time with his song Colorblind.
The industry's latest and highly lucrative new phenomenon, TV talent shows where viewers choose an instant star.
The kind of stars that you promote last 2 or 3 years and then they disappear and you hunt for the latest marketable product.
How dare you? Any record company, their sole objective is to make profits.
Growing up, there wasn't access to music, particularly black music. I felt like I found something that was unique to me. I just remember it being like an audio blanket.
Clink, 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 clink.
Miss Dynamite.
Scribble it on the paper, gotta keep this tight.
Get him a talking cockney and yardy, and it pull up. 20 years ago, even saying the words black music rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way.
Idiot rappers. They big themselves up.
You big yourself up.
You're right, I do big myself up quite a lot.
Older people don't like change. We had a lot of power at that time and a lot of people were listening to what we were saying and people were emulating it and following our fashion and stuff like that.
Gap anoraks, night tracksuits were just it.
I used to base my whole outfit on Lisa Mafia.
Jellies and clogs.
People were scared of it. We was saying things, you understand? We was talking some lyrics and stringing some metaphors and everything together. That's scary. It was a bit too much power and the people didn't really want to relinquish that power.
Wow, that took me back. Now, my fashion back then was a little bit dodgy. I had on huge bootcut jeans, academics tracksuits, massive T-shirts, do-rags, and New Era caps. That was my uniform every day. For some strange reason, we all wanted to dress like the Americans. Nowadays, you see black music stars dominating everywhere. The likes of J. Huss, Stormzy, and Steph London. But it wasn't always like this. You had to really go out of your way to find black music.
It wasn't the time of now where you download an app and it's instant. There was a lot more investment in music as a consumer.
The record shop was my all.
You used to have to get to know the people behind the counter so that they wouldn't sell you the bug tunes.
It felt like I took a piece of another planet that was on a 45 in my house.
Because I wanted to hear it so much and there's no other option, you'd save up to get it.
Where I got my music and exclusives was from sneaking into raves.
Sneaking into raves wasn't the only way to consume music.
There was a lot of channels that you had to swim through.
The Box.
Channel U.
MTV Base.
Late nights on Radio 1, Trevor Nelson did Rhythm Nation.
Trevor Nelson.
Trevor. Gosh.
We never had a truly sustainable scene at chart level.
I see that you hating my glow, the cool, the flow.
People weren't really borrowing in British accents, really. A lot of the stuff that hit my radar, that trying to be American because that was the influence that it had on this country at that time.
I worked in record shops. We even pretended that they were imports by shrink wrapping them so people would be fooled because there was such a bias not to buy British.
That is wild to me now. Like, I cannot imagine like J. Huss doing a rap and he's like got some American accent. Like, bro, what are you doing?
It's mad, it's mad.
We will need to meet your love. We can make it through the night.
There was one or two little successes, but it was underground.
We had that whole garage run of real commercial smashes, but unsustainable. And so Solly comes along. That changed everything because I had a #1 hit record. All of a sudden, there's something going on here.
See, if you don't know or you're too young to remember, the way to get new black music back in the day was from our legendary pirate stations. We had Baseline FM, we had Deja Vu, we had Rinse FM, we had Freeze FM, we had Delight. These were the ways to get the best in new black music.
Wicked! Jungle is massive! Wicked!
In the early days, all I ever used to listen to was pirate radio.
Do you know about pirate radio? Nah, it's just a trick question.
One of the reasons why I fell in love with radio is because we didn't have a TV in the house, but I had an alarm clock that had a radio.
Trying to find your dial and trying to get a clear sound back then was hard.
Pirate radio back in the days was like derelict buildings. You'd have the decks in the kitchen. Sometimes you'd get man who are like poverty-stricken addicts.
You know, there's rats running around and only one CDJ works and there's no needles on the turntables and all of that kind of thing.
Mixing in metal containers while people are getting their car washes and you wouldn't even know I'm there.
The yard's messy and sand, it's scummy, but the vibes was electric.
We all felt like we were outcasts. Most of us couldn't get into the West End to play in a nightclub or any of that stuff. We were pretty desperate to be part of music and doing pirate radio. It's the first time I felt relevant.
The legitimate broadcasters don't like the way that the pirates steal the airwaves.
The DTI were the police, but not the police. This was the #1 thing that they used to say that scared me. If we get you, we will confiscate your music. And it was to protect the very institutions that I ended up on. People like the BBC and official radio stations. They pay the artists when they play their music. And I get that, but we were playing artists that ain't getting no love. So who was right, who was wrong?
When the station started, the remit was to play the best in new black music with an emphasis on live music and supporting UK talent. Now, to do that, the station needed some heavy hitters. And it just so happens that the team that started One Extra, Ray Paul, Wilbur Wilberforce, George Ergentudas and Terence Steele, well, they knew everybody.
We got a call from Ray Paul, big up Uncle Ray Paul.
The thing with Ray's mandem. He's off on the block, but he's BBC. He knew how to produce radio shows, but he knew how to communicate with us.
He told us One Extra was gonna be a legal pirate radio station.
Your ideal target audience member is a 19-year-old jobless kid living in Harlesden.
Hopefully, I would like to think that most of our kids don't all come from Harlesden. This is not a London local station, and that they're not all jobless. Their ages between 16 and 24. Some of them might work in the bank, some of them might fall outside that bracket, some of them might be very, very influential people.
Back in the day, we were on BBC London, on air. We mixed 20 minutes of dancehall, and then the last dancehall record you'll mix into a hip-hop one. And then you do 20 minutes of hip-hop, and then the last one of those you mix into like a house tune. Other people started copying our format, and then one day a gentleman came along and said, we're starting a new national network, and we like the format that you guys use. Would you like to come and do a show?
The way it was pitched at first was it was called Network X, and that then changed to One Extra. But I remember my manager at the time said to me, you should wait 6 months, see how the radio station does. And I said, nah, I want to be in on the ground floor.
One could only dream, right? You know what I'm saying? As a young sound man or a young DJ, you know that that's the top of the mountain.
Everyone who had a name on the roads and who was kicking up a storm on the roads, One Extra literally went to each of those people and give them the tap. It was almost like, I don't know if you remember, this is going old school, Super Soccer. When you clock the game, you have to play Nintendo. That was a team who, they were all in black and all their team was 10-10, every single player. That's literally what One Extra done. The Rampage, the Heartless, Robbo Ranks, G Money.
You know the saddest thing about One Extra? When it started, no one asked me anything. I was like a bit gutted, I ain't gonna lie. There's something happening with black music in this country. You want to be part of it, you spent your life promoting black music.
It was just so exciting. I went and hunted down to go buy DAB radio.
Thank gosh for DAB at that time. It would have just gone under my radar.
And then the advert dropped.
I remember that advert so clearly coming on TV and being like, what's this?
If I'm honest, I thought, oh, it's a station for boys. You know, it was very grimy.
Attention!
One of the problems we had at the Beeb was we could only promote to a BBC audience. So basically you'd be watching EastEnders and you might get a 1X, but they're not the people that needed to see it. We had to succumb to leaning a bit on Radio 1 and understand that, look, for black music to be successful in this country, it's got to go mainstream.
One Extra, a new digital radio station from the BBC dedicated to new black music.
Prior to One Extra going on air, we had like a 2-week run-up of signals going out, but only people in the building can hear. Do they sound any good? Did he mess up? Was that mixed tight or whatever? And then after that, you go and do your first show. These men ain't gonna let me on air for 2 weeks until they know that I'm actually good enough. That kind of made me think, okay, this is a serious job now.
I will never forget the launch, August the 16th, 2002.
I remember like a long intro and it was mashups. Like I could close my eyes and visualize how mad it was, and it just seemed like there was bare people in the studio. It was like crazy. I feel like Treble T was like one of the first voices I heard.
It's myself, Treble T, alongside my compadre Mike Anthony from the Rampage and the gorgeous, talented Casey, kicking off the station in a fine style. So at this moment in time, me and Mike, we're in the studio. I believe the entirety of the BBC Board of Governors and every exec on the planet is busy staring at us through the glass. And Casey, our co-presenter, is around the corner having a shot of brandy because she was so nervous.
As much as I was definitely nervous, the excitement of being part of something like this right from the start, like completely overrides all of that. Me and Wretch just went in. I don't think we'd ever really been on a platform like that where we were allowed to just totally be ourselves. It felt like the difference between how I might talk to my friend's parents, how you doing, that's right, very good to see you, compared to how I actually talk to my friends, which is how I actually talk.
Didn't someone ask you to talk a bit my ghetto?
Yes. Someone came up to me and Mike and said, good show today, but could you speak a bit more street? And we said, no, we can't. This is how we speak. Well, in fact, we have to show the nation that not all black people are the same. Some of us do speak quite well. All right, fling some slang in there every now and then, but I can speak quite well if I need the money.
Yo, it's mad to hear that story because I remember them early days of One Extra. Some of the early shows me and Viz did, we thought we had to be proper BBC. We was using Terry Wogan as the blueprint for being a broadcaster. Then we got pulled aside by Wilbur. He said, look, loosen up. This isn't why we signed you. We want you to go mad as possible. Get in as much trouble as you can. And if you go too far, we'll pull you back in. So shout out to Wilbur for seeing the vision. We like that.
Woo! Oh, yeah.
This is getting crazy right now. Oh my God, what a time this is going. He's going down. Oh, he's gone.
In 2002, some major changes were happening in black music from the US, and it was starting to have an impact over here as well.
By the end of the 90s, everybody knew who Pharrell was, everybody knew who Jay-Z was, everybody had heard of so many artists that they hadn't heard of before.
Back then, it was all very US. I didn't know any different because I didn't even know UK music really existed like that.
Shout out to Ras Kwame.
I remember listening to Ras Kwame. That was really super exciting.
Ras, huge influence.
There was no love for the UK in this time, so I'm coming from a place of frustration. Soul to Soul was the landmark, but not all of us could mix and master records. Soul to Soul was signed to Virgin Records. I just went to Wilbur, and the minute he said to me, unique and original, I'm like, yo, I'm doing UK black music. I'm the specialist for that. I want to be that guy. Thought of a name for it, the 100% Homegrown mixtape.
Finding 3 hours of true quality music. Once upon a time, that was not easy to do. It was a different time.
The first time we was on One Extra 20 years ago, I didn't even like it. It was really a horrible time. They influenced us to change, and we was young and impressionable. Our core friends and family would listen to us on One Extra them time and saying, oh, well, I'll go on for you, man. You man are going soft. Yeah, and because our shows weren't firing, they weren't what people was used to. The trick of it was, One Extra wasn't for London and weren't for the core people. It was for out of London and all these other places who couldn't get this vibe. So to us, it was a watered down vibe. People up in Bradford are like, wow, this is the best thing since sliced bread. It was like a bittersweet. We're getting a lot of heat and a lot of hype, but then our core fans are like, you man are dead. But in One Extra's defense as well, because I've got to paint both sides of the story. Them time I think you had to come to One Extra 2 hours before and you had to stay 2 hours after, which, again, looking back on it, we were like, what's that? It's pointless.
You know, a lot of these DJs come from a place where they're very, very safe in their environments. When you walk into the BBC, you're not quite sure if you put a cape on or not.
We turn up to Mission 5-10 minutes before we start, even 10 minutes after we started, have a little drink, maybe have a little blaze. It's brilliant. So now we're coming, we have to sit down, there's these mics in front of us, people are coming and giving us pieces of paper to read, and we're like, really? Like, big up One Extra for tolerating us, and we was giving them something, we made their name hot on the road, and they were giving us something in return.
The problem you've got, you're very talented, but it's hard to move up the BBC ladder, and a lot of them did struggle with that.
In any record company, their sole objective is to make profits.
One Extra was able to put a certain amount of data to the music to be able to show the influences that it has on the culture. The label started to have an outlet to say this music is going to get playlisted, which gave hope to a lot of artists. You get what I'm saying? Before, we didn't have none of that. We can't verify what the numbers were for pirate radio and all that back in the day. And since we've come along, what Radio 1 was doing on a Saturday night, we can do that every day.
So what set One Extra apart was BBC money and that BBC trust. It's easy to say to Usher's plugger, you know, part of your run is BBC, Trevor Nelson, One Extra. So it kind of becomes part of the promo journey for big artists.
So having some of these big American artists passing through the station was a big deal. Over the past 20 years, I've met everybody from Missy Elliott to Mary J. Blige and Summer Walker. But there was a change happening in the UK. Some of the homegrown artists were starting to get in the charts with the Americans.
For me, there are 3 points at which I feel like, oh, this is going somewhere.
Usually drink, usually dance, usually bubble.
I think when Wiley and Bless Beats made Wearing My Rolex, them approaching a studio session and making a record like that, and then Target premiering it, Pete Tong playing it, it taking a journey into the charts, #2, it was like, okay, there's actually an economy around this MC culture that also has a potential mainstream audience. It's like, wow, that can actually happen for a black British MC. We had never seen it happen before. And obviously after that, Dizzy then had a lot of commercial success. And then I think the next really big thing that happened that I saw was Tinchy Stryder. I approach females in a hot boy style. I think Tinchy and Tayo Cruz, Take Me Back. I think that was one of the first top 10s. It was a bit like, wow, something's happened here. The third turning point, without doubt, Passed Out. An edgy record, something that was a little bit harder, like actually having the level of success that it did, complete game changer. So much of the edginess of where it was all going slightly came from the sonics and the kind of hardness of Pass Out. And it's weird to say that now, because when you hear it, it doesn't sound as hard, but honestly, it was a game changer.
What do I think about that era? I think it was absolutely brilliant. I think it was a stepping stone that was much needed. These guys were coming from a hardcore level, but the radio wasn't embracing hardcore songs. So you might have to do a pop song just to get by. To be honest with you, there was just a lot of racism around. People had issues with the messaging for whatever reason, I don't know. There was a time when people weren't even happy with the name grime.
Every man was doing pop, and that was a smoke screen. For years, people have been loving black culture, but don't love black people. Tinchy Stride and all them, when it was grime, you get what I'm saying? It was all grime. The music got changed.
Laguna Beach.
Chip had a Mavada record, Clean Every Day We Wake Up, which to this day is probably one of Chip's biggest records, and it ends. That's black people just being black, just being who you are, fam. It wasn't all good because we still hadn't been accepted for who we are.
It was a time when you had to really compromise what you were doing to get the ear and eye of the mainstream. You might have ended up doing a little pop tune or a dance tune. We happened to do two, and they both went to #1, which sounds incredible, and it was incredible, but there's a price to pay for that, because we'd almost left behind what our core audience had loved us for.
We was literally breaking a door down. There wasn't 5 other black artists that we got to see before that made it to A-list on Radio 1. We had to do good, because if the single doesn't hit, the next set of youths that come, they're gonna say, nah, this thing's a flop.
Understanding the importance that these tunes have, they're really important, because record companies, everyone, the perception of a scene is success.
Everything I've done on One Extra made people want to see me get to a point where I could make something that sat on Radio 1. Now people want to sign you, you're having them conversations, and at that time, radio definitely controlled the success of songs.
We were just excited that artists that we loved and that we knew were very good at what they did were having success. Like EQ, Hackney, Walk Down Road, that's grime culture, but that is like full of black people. A few years later, you've got a whole sea of white faces at Shepherd's Bush Empire here to see Tinchy or Chip. It just felt progressive. It felt like things were moving forward.
Go. If you're talking the hardest.
All these people that were around these artists were also building an economy and building teams, and it felt like there was an industry building and people were getting jobs.
It costs so much to put these records together. You've got the studio time, you've got the producer beat, you've got the engineer, you've got the master, and then you're just seeing nothing back. And then all of a sudden you start to go, oh my God, like national radio playing my tune. Then they're seeing they've got a couple £100 there.
Knowing that you're getting paid a certain amount every minute your song is getting played, and just understanding the economy around your music was amazing.
When finance is implemented, it adds to the infrastructure. Because now, my brethren, who might sometimes send emails on my behalf, might have driven me to shows, is now able to be my manager and get 20% of what I do. He's now able to find another artist to manage and use the 20% he gets from mine to help him pay for his videos and whatnot. Then he's now able to find more artists, and now there's 8 artists from one artist. It's like a spider web.
To have black people in this space is like, okay, we are handling our business and our genre in the best possible way. Not a lot of places can do that or feel comfortable to give black people that responsibility, period.
If anyone is able to talk about the growth of black music in the last 20 years, it will be One Extra.
One Extra is a national network. We have prominence in a lot of the key kind of cities that have a high frequency of black audiences, so Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds. But then we've also got a footprint in like Glasgow and in Wales and in all of the, because what we've seen is black music now is mainstream pop culture.
Being in the Manchester arena, a place where I would like get tickets to be front row to, I'll never forget that.
There were 2 guys I was working with at the time, 2 managers, and they said, do you want to come and do this One Extra live show? And everybody was talking, but in the crowd was Naughty Boy. And he said, you know, I really felt like you were singing that song to me. That translated into fantastic careers for both of us.
Having the ciphers and the outreach programs, also like things like Target's notice board, specialist DJs that go out and do sets up and down the country, like having that within One Extra is only gonna bring a more widespread roster.
Even though we've got your TikToks and your Instagrams, One Extra still holds so much respect. We've been one of the very few, if not the only platform that has done what we've done in supporting the culture in general for 20 years now.
We've launched the official UK Afrobeats chart with the legend that is Eddie Caddy. We've launched editorial initiatives such as Future Figures, where we profile 30 individuals from across the UK that are doing and making a difference. Some of the big events that we've kind of forged the relationship with this year: Wireless, Afro Nation, let's not forget like BBC Three and the work that we've done on the rap game, or Hire Me, or The Drop. More recently, some of the partnerships that we've done with BBC Africa.
We was at Afro Nation just the other day. We didn't find a UK raver for ages. We were going up to people and they'd be like from Rotterdam, or they'd be from Switzerland or France. They'd be like, no way, One Extra. Like, that still is crazy to me.
As we do it in a rubber-dub style, Pon the Hills, rock and groove rhythm, with Savannah, Jazzy Lees, Leela Ike, Naomi Cowan. Make we juggle, make we juggle.
Going to Jamaica with Shawnee B was like stepping into Buckingham Palace with the Queen. Everyone has to experience that. I didn't realise how much he is loved in Jamaica until I went there, and I was like, wow.
My favourite One Extra moment has to be Alkaline and Shawnee B freestyle in Jamaica.
I know we do it, them man wonder how we do it. The roughest storm we been through it. Wonder how we do it. We woulda never beg a dollar because we rank no ram goat. Listen to me.
That was hard, so big up Shawnee B and what he does for dancehall culture on One Extra still.
Kick it off, London, yo! London, England, Nottingham, Birmingham, all over. Yo, Sheffield, Luton, yo, a Peter Metro, England, toilet in your police in England, in your police in London, hey, in your police in England, in your police in London, hey.
So One Extra in Jamaica is like a pilgrimage every year. For a Jamaican artist to be on BBC, if you understand the Caribbean community, World Service back home was a big thing. It's that prestigiousness, you know? It's a great aspiration for somebody to end up on the BBC.
So we are coming with a force. Shawnee B facilitated the rise of coffee. Like, I remember not knowing who she was and knowing that she was only being played on One Extra. And then she went on to win a Grammy.
We have to give thanks like we really supposed to be thankful.
Now, as broadcasters, we don't always get it right. We make mistakes from time to time, but we own it. You know what I'm saying? We share it with the listeners. We turn it into jokes. The listeners like real presenters talking about real things and playing real music. And I think that's why we have such a personal and amazing bond with the One Extra listeners.
Ace!
Yo!
Wagwan!
What's going on, sir?
Reggie!
My guy, how are you?
I'm good, I'm
Yeah?
good.
Big
This
weekend.
man.
No, this guy.
Big things. Big things, Wagwan. We're a team, and you know,
Family.
me is not as big as we. And that's why I think One Extra is such a special station.
When I'm rinsing Melvin, telling him he's got no hair, or what, I got no hair now either, to be fair. But like,
it still hurts.
or when he's rinsing me about me, the way I used to dress back in the day, or whatever it
He
is.
used to tuck his jumper into his jeans. Who does that? No one does that.
People like that. People like that stuff.
I have made some of the most hilarious mistakes on One Extra. I was doing the breakfast show with Twin, and Twin had told me, yo, I had black cod for dinner. And I was like, I can't remember the last time I had black cod. But I didn't say black cod, did I?
Yeah. The last time I had cock.
God. Oh, God. Yeah. Tweet at One Extra. Hey, yeah. If you can remember the best meal you've ever had, or what pops into your head.
The mic is up, it went out, and that's the magic of radio, innit? I heard it, you heard it, so did thousands of others, innit, at 7:45 in the morning.
Twin just faded up a song, and then I was like,
Now, some of the station's most iconic moments come from artist sessions. We've had some of the best live lounges ever. Go check out Stormzy's Gang Signs and Prayer session from the Maida Vale studios. But we know the One Extra listeners love the freestyles.
I know you gonna dig this.
Oh, yeah. I remember I used to listen to Charlie Sloth playing hardcore rap. I'm saying, raw, this guy's going in.
When you watch it, go to school, have you watched this? Oh my gosh, we learned the bars off by heart. Deep in, like, this is actually people that is even coming up and being big stars right now in our culture.
I love Fire in the Booth, yeah. It's like a dream of mine to one day to rap and get on it. But I'm still working on the bars, to be honest.
Favorite fire in the booth? I mean, there's so many. So many.
Nines. Nah, nines. I'm gonna go with nines.
I got this Fulham chick, I known her for time. Before all the ice, when I was reloading on nines. Saw me go from bread and water to lobster and wine. That's why I never air calls when she hollers.
Yeah, man. Nah, pause it, bro. Saw me go from bread and water to lobster and wine. That bar there sums up a lot of people's journeys, innit? Favorite fire in the booth?
There's a lot of good ones, man. Woo, 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 woo. Wretch and Avelino. It's not even a debate.
I want my name in lights, not in a list. Name a pair of rappers that could walk in our Rizzle kicks. 2016, it's the rise of the lyricists. Young Fire, old flame.
Man, Avelino in the building, cuz! Absolute animal in this team, fire!
I'm a rap genius, I've passed since. So if you ain't got a 2-1 and you ain't free to, you gotta graduate before you pass. Wretch, we got off on the wrong foot because you half-step. Meanwhile, I'm getting restless because I can't rest. 21 hours I'm awake, the other 3 I'm in the days writing what to say with my last breath. Can you not hear the difference?